What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? The Celtic Warriors, James.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to the dive bar of the IWC. Welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks, episode 1. Again. I'm Marv. This is at WOTR, the show. With me today, we have at Ref Marsh. And Justin Time. What's going on, dude?
What is up? What is up? Surprise appearance by Marv. Gotta love when Marv shows up all the time. and when he farts too. Can't forget that.
He may be the single only farting puppet in wrestling podcasting.
I only know there's like one other podcast puppet, and that's like wrestling podcast puppet, and I don't think he farts, so.
That's a good point. So if they ever try and say we bit their gimmick, I'll be like, dude, different gimmick. Mine farts. Yours doesn't fart.
You ain't squeaking, so we're not.
Until yours busts a leak, I don't want to hear it, you know. And then I came up with some pretty cool developments for Marv coming in the near future. So it's been a lot of fun.
It's gonna be good.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be good. I can't wait to see GR Lunar lose his shit over the development with Marv to come. But speaking of developments, Justin, it's been a while. We haven't seen you here since I think episode 1, and you've made it back just in time for episode 1.
Always. I love coming on episode 1s, and it's just like, it's been a while though. Every time. Stained is playing in my head. It's been a while over and over again.
Yeah. I like that you're rocking the American Badass headband. Little ode to Raw 30.
I look like if Duck Dynasty was a hibachi chef right now.
Ooh. Can you imagine the duck they'd make on hibachis?
Oh my God.
I'm a big fan of duck. I'll be honest. We have duck every Christmas, but I think we've talked about that before. Probably on episode 1. So. Justin, I gotta know. Celebrating your return. What's in your glass, man?
We got my sponsored, not sponsored all the time. We got classic Mountain Dew right now.
Oh, classic, huh? Are you? Have you tried the Mountain Dew Pitch Black yet?
Yes, and I really like that stuff.
What's the general flavor profile? Is it like a grape?
It's kind of grape, but it also kind of has like a berry flavor to it. So
So it might be like a blackberry or something like that.
yes, it's very, very good. I might have to get some for Royal Rumble specifically now.
You have to. Like I was gonna say, if you weren't drinking Pitch Black Mountain Dew while watching Rumble, I don't know what we've been building here. This is long-term storytelling, man, at its finest. We've told you before. Bruce is a big fan of the show. You think it's a coincidence that Mountain Dew's suddenly a sponsor? No. No.
Mm-hmm. Something fishy going on here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm having a little bit of a sweet tea and vodka. It's sugar-free sweet tea, though. 0 sugar sweet tea, so it's still keto. Dude,
Very nice
my fat December was so successful. I put on like over 10 pounds. And even weigh myself at the end of it. But I've lost it all back already because New Year's resolutions are successful if you steamroll the failure at the end of the year, right? I steamrolled it, put on a ton of weight. So at the beginning of the year, I could lose the weight I just gained and make it look like success. It's fucking wonderful. It's like all those athletes who like on their off season take all these before pictures and then get sponsored by like some sort of whey protein and they go, look it in 30 days. And you're like, it was your off month. Dumb. Like we get it. You started with something that I didn't start with.
You prepped yourself for hibernation and then all of a sudden said, nah, forget that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, come on. Same thing. Same concept. But yeah, I do want to. I don't mean to start off on like a kind of a sad note, but it is Jay Briscoe's birthday. He would have turned 39 today. So tears in our beers and happy birthday to him and all the best thoughts to his family. Because I mean, it sucks and it's so tough because I mean he died last week.
Yeah,
there's presents for him in that house. You know what I mean? Because people plan that stuff. And that sucks because now they, you know what I mean? And they have to look at it and think about it. It's already hard enough already, but like to also compile it with that's tough, dude. Like, so just my thoughts are with them because I can't imagine.
I can't wait to see this tribute tonight. I really can't. Like, I'm so like, I don't know how well it's going to hit me like a freaking sack of shit, like big time. Cause like I said, it hit me like Brody Lee's. It was so unexpected. Just I see Tony Khan tweet out that he passes away, and I'm like, I know this sounds kind of fucked up to say, but like, I kind of hope this is like some kind of weird, sick joke or something like that. And it's just like, it's all over the place, and it's like, oh my god, no, why? And it just hit like that.
Yeah, it's no secret that I work with Medusa, and so she's the one I was playing D&D with my friends on Discord. I do that once a week. And I just got a couple of text messages from her saying, "Oh my God, Jay Briscoe." And I thought she meant Gerald Briscoe. And I thought it was a typo. And so I was like really confused. I was like, "Oh, that's a bummer. That's so sad." And no, she knew him. And then she was like, No, Jay Briscoe. And then like sends a picture. And I was like, what? Like I was just dumbfounded. So yeah, it's still a lot. I know tomorrow night, we're still planning on doing some watch along stuff with Miss Amanda Jane. We want to watch some Briscoe classics, some of the older stuff too. I definitely want to see that Steen and Generico against the Briscoes if we can find it.
God, that match is probably amazing.
Yeah. So and when we do, we'll tell everyone where we're finding it, so you can always watch along. And if you listen to it later, it'll be like we're all hanging out, just your drinking buddies, But yeah, I'm looking forward to whatever they put together tonight. I'm surprised that Mark's wrestling so soon.
Me too.
Because he's having that match with Jay Lethal. I'm surprised. But again, that's if he's decided that's the right decision for him, then it is. Like, I know that I lost some real close people, and I was still here doing this little podcast. So it's like, I get it too sometimes, like it's what you do. It's how you get through it. But I imagine that this match is going to be really special for a number of reasons. And so, yeah, I encourage everyone to watch it, and we'll talk about it tomorrow for sure. Have you rewatched any Briscoe stuff?
Not really, no, because I don't really know where to look to start even looking.
All right, so we'll take care of that tomorrow. Come on through the dive bar tomorrow, and we'll get some matches up. But moving on, because we'll have a lot of that talk tomorrow as well. I didn't want to ignore it that it was his birthday, because that's, we do birthdays. I don't have anything like news-wise. Was there anything that you saw bumbling up in the news? Because I'll be honest with you, I'm not as active on Twitter as I was for a while. I've been really busy with the other projects that I work on, which has been really good. But I do notice that when I'm logging into Twitter, it feels more pointless than ever. I'm literally looking at like 6 or 7 accounts in a row. Who do you think is going to win the men's rumble? Who do you think is going to win the women's rumble? What was Undertaker whispering to Bray Wyatt? Wrong answers only. I literally saw that in a row 7 times. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, you guys, first off, wrong answer only tweets are terrible. Yes. Always. They're unoriginal, uninspired, not funny. And it just asks for a bunch of other people to create content for you. I'd rather see you caption it with something funny or redub the audio with something funny. Show me that you're clever. Don't ask everyone who's watching or following you to prove that they actually can create content you can't. It's lazy and it's not funny. I've also never seen a response to any wrong answer only post that I ever went, that's funny, that's a good one. Every time I look through those comments, every time, that's why I've stopped. I'm just like, these are awful and terrible. Like, what are we doing? And I get out. So Twitter's been just fucking boring, dude.
Yes,
just boring.
I don't even barely go on that often still, and it's like when I do, it's just like a quick scroll through here and there. I check my group chat that I'm in. I check our group chat and see what they got going on. They drop anything, I retweet it quick, and then I'm gone. Like, I don't even pay attention to any of the news, none of that, because again, they're all blocked for me, so I don't really pay attention to them.
Dude, not only should they be blocked, but they're all so sensitive that if you even question why they would say a certain thing or say, hey, you didn't take the time, they're not even responsible enough as self-important journalists to put out a redaction, to say that was a mistake, to even say this was an error and I should have been a little more responsible. Their response is to snap back some sort of quip, tell you that they're never wrong, and come up with some sort of excuse, and then block you for saying, hey, this isn't responsible. So they're not even like worth the time of it, dude. It's crazy. And they've been wrong a lot this past couple weeks.
I heard Bishop's episode about Dave Meltzer.
Yeah. And then he was wrong about the Briscoe stuff after the fact too, because he was putting out that he was, and Bischoff dragged him, but he put out that Warner Brothers were still refusing to put out Mark Briscoe, that he's not going to be allowed, that's hard set in stone. And then Tony tweets out that he's going to be on and he's going to have a match. And then Dave says, oh, at the time I said it was true. They made an announcement. They said this thing. It's like, no, you're just seeing the same tweets we are. You know what I mean? Obviously you were wrong. You spoke out of your ass, and even just saying, hey, look, I assumed it would have been the same. You know what I mean? And then he says that he covers his ass by saying, unless something changes. Yeah, of course. That's true 100% of the time. This either is or isn't is always going to be a true statement. It doesn't make you smart or knowledgeable or inside to say they either will continue this thing or they will not continue this thing, because those are the literal only 2 options. You're not hedging your bets. You're talking out of both sides of your mouth. So yeah, I've been staying off Twitter because a lot of it's been that bad. Just that bad. And irresponsible.
Yes, because like I said, I don't even bother looking for anything like that. Like I said, they're all blocked for me and anything like that. And it's just that whole everyone's talking about the Rumble, and I'm just like, okay, well, we'll see what happens when we get there. Like,
yeah, it's this weekend, and I've heard some pretty cool predictions, pretty cool fantasy bookings. You guys all know I'm a big Sam Roberts shill. He had a really fun breakdown of how he imagined you could get to a KO and Sami Zayn one-on-one at Mania for a title. Like a really cool, like if you kind of pull back and how could we get there without damaging anybody's. It was a really cool breakdown because I was like, you know what? You could get there, which is cool. Doesn't mean they're going to do it. Doesn't mean they would even do it that way. But we've talked a lot about Sami and KO. When you see something as dominant as Roman, it can be really difficult to figure out how can we have our cake and eat it too. And he broke down a method that was like, you look at, we can have it all. We could just have it all. And so I was like, that's really fun. So stuff like that I enjoy. But all this other one, you know, asking 30 people to tell you who they think's going to win, like what is not into it. So yeah, Twitter's been a bore. The news has been wrong a lot. I just think the shows have been cool. They've been good enough. They've been good enough as a standalone thing. So
very true.
Let's see. You want to talk about some of the shows?
Let's do this.
Let's do it. Let's talk SmackDown. Dude, SmackDown and Raw were both pretty good. Like, very. I know that I've heard some people say that nothing about those shows made you or made them or did anything that would make somebody want to see the Rumble more or less than they wanted to before, that it was pretty static. I only sort of agree with the concept that, like, my excitement for Rumble is already high every year. You don't have to do much to make me more excited for the Rumble.
I think that's the point of it all, usually, with the Rumble, is when you see when it comes to Rumble season, your excitement just goes because it's the Royal Rumble. It always has that excitement, no matter what it is.
I also think that with them announcing Cody Rhodes is coming back for the Rumble means we're going to see some pretty cool shit. Because they want you to know Cody's coming back for the Rumble. They don't want that to be a surprise. Because that means they have surprises that they don't want to lessen by having Cody get a big pop. He's going to get anyways.
Yes.
Dude, what do you think? What do you think of these Cody promos that Bishop hates?
I've actually really, like, again, I don't know what it is. Cody, since he's come back to WWE, has just been wonderful compared to the AEW stuff. The AEW stuff was so miserable. Couldn't stand to watch any second of it. And now since he's come back, it's just like, it's so good to where it's like, you want to root for Cody. You want to, like, side by Cody, listening to what he says and how he's coming back to this nasty injury. And it's like, I love this. I'm loving these entire Cody promos.
Dude, I actually think that him not working well in AEW helps his story here, because so much of this AEW was like, he was either doing the best thing that they had that week, that pay-per-view. I still think the greatest match they've ever had in their history was him and his brother at Double or Nothing. I still think that the story build-up to that is the best story build-up we've had to any match that they've had there, personally, for my flavor. But there's been so much that he did that just didn't feel like it fit the rest of the show. He never quite fit in. And so he either stood out in a good way or a bad way, where it's kind of like, this doesn't match. This doesn't match. What are we doing, right? That brings the struggle to WWE. This whole, like, it was easy to come back, and to see him flow back in is just so much like, yes, because this is where you always belonged. It makes him feel like he's home, versus there where he was like building that empire. I think it makes it better. I think it makes it stronger. Like, it almost like gives him a stronger case for it, you know?
1000%. Like, I just look at Cody and go, his story, him telling the story now of saying, you know what I want, and I've pretty much demonstrated to everybody, you see what I want right now, and I'm going to do it for my family. I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for my legacy. Like, there's just something about him doing it here that just seems way more important and, like, way better than what he was trying to do in AEW completely.
Yeah. I love it, dude. I'm so excited to see him back. He's gonna get such a huge ovation, and I do agree. I think that this is where he ought to be. You know? Oh shoot, we got some comments in the chat. I had my thing messed up. Grim Reaper saying hi.
Hi.
Full disclosure, I asked Grim if he wanted to be here. He said, "Fuck that. I want nothing to do with it." I think he's got an issue. I think he's got something. I think he's got an issue with Marv. If I'm being honest, I think Marv has a better mustache than Grim can grow.
Grim Reaper and Marv. Like. Oh, this isn't good.
No, actually, he's not. He's sick. But I told him I didn't care. So, Blue Boy in there with the fire emojis. Cheers to them. Thank you guys for coming through and being our drinking buddies today. Drinking Buddy shirts available at wrestlingontherocks.com/shop.
Get them because they're dope.
You know what I don't have though? Thinking about it, I don't have one that just says Drinking Buddies. It's got the cartoons of us. Maybe I ought to do one that's just Drinking Buddies, so people can wear it and be like, "Look, I'm drinking." Buddy. Yeah, just the Drinking Buddy logo without any of the buddies.
That could actually work really well because everybody would literally just like it looked like it could be like just a regular shirt for the fuck of it. Like,
yeah, I'm just a drinking buddy. I gotta do that. I'll do a few of those. Oh, Grimper says he can't grow a mustache at all. See, I knew it, dude. I knew it. He's so jealous of Marv's mustache, dude. Look at that thing. But yeah, I'm super stoked for. I think we're gonna bounce around a little bit too, dude. I haven't talked to you in a while, so I want to know how you're feeling about stuff. I want to know. Oh wait, Grim Reaper says I don't think Cody should win the Rumble. Have him win an Elimination Chamber match. See, because there is a lot of that. So everyone thinks it's gonna be Cody. They all think that you're building up for Cody. He's got to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Cody needs the Rumble win to get to an even more compelling WrestleMania story. I actually think that if he doesn't win the Rumble, it becomes a lot more interesting on how he's going to get there. Where if he does win the Rumble, then we're just biding our time for 3 months. And I don't think Cody needs to bide his time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, again, this is stuff that I've seen scrolling through Twitter, people talking about The Rock winning the Rumble. And it's just like, I don't know. I'm not really the biggest fan of having The Rock come back and winning the Rumble over somebody who actually deserves to win it, especially with The Rock when he's already got the story with Roman. He doesn't need to win it. So it's like, it's almost kind of in the position where Cody is like, feels like the only one that can win it. That would really make any logical sense.
But sometimes the Rumble is an obstacle and not a launching pad. Sometimes your stories are so big, like the Roman and Rock potential story, that if someone else won the Rumble, it gets in the way of that story. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to. Same with Money in the Bank. Sometimes that Money in the Bank's a fucking obstacle. How do we get this off of this dude? You know what I mean? Like you can book yourself into a corner, especially with those yearly traditional pay-per-views and premium live events. To have the winner of the Rumble have to go to WrestleMania, you sometimes need to throw that out. I mean, that's why Charlotte's won it, because they knew who they wanted in that match, and it was going to be a problem if somebody else took it. Did Charlotte ever need to win a Rumble? The year before, she just said, "I just want that title," and they said, "Okay." The year before that, she said, "I want in on that match," and they said, "Okay." Like, she never needed it, right? I think sometimes this might be a year where they've built these stories so big and so grand that you might need to have a quote unquote throwaway winner, a Rock, a Cody, someone who doesn't need it necessarily. You know what I mean? Just because or give it to a Brock Lesnar, you know what I mean? Like, fuck, you might need to give it to somebody big who doesn't need it, just because anybody else is going to have to lose at Mania, and it's going to be obvious. You know what I mean? I feel like that everything's so big that I don't think I'd mind if The Rock won, just because it would be like, well, shit, it's been a long time. But I don't know.
See it, but it's just like it's just weird because I feel like we're kind of in the position that if you don't just if you have a story already set up here, you have the way to win the Rumble here. It's like, it's so weird. It's such a weird situation right now because I feel like they booked Roman so strong that it's like who do you have win this at this point? Like, do you go with Cody just so you could actually do the match? Because it's like, it feels like it's the only like fresh challenger for Roman to face. It's just, I don't know. It's so weird. It's such a hard, difficult situation again.
You could theoretically give it to Seth Rollins again, but I mean, at the same time, like, I just don't think that. I don't think this is going to be like Shinsuke's year. You know what I mean? I don't think that AJ is going to win the Rumble. You know what I mean? I don't think it's going to be one of these dudes who you go like, you know what? They should have another chance on top. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't going to be. Theory's not going to win it and go to the thing. You know what I mean? Like, I think that this is the year that you're going to have an incredible Rumble with a winner that's going to be, I think, surprising. But I think people will forever say didn't have to be that person. But I think that needs to happen sometimes. I think they do it too much sometimes with like Money in the Bank. A lot of times the Money in the Bank winner is a little obvious in someone who doesn't need it. Especially in the last few years where the people haven't even been able to cash it in. Like, but I think sometimes when they're going, it gets real tough to figure out where you go from here. You know what I mean? Like, how do you get around the Royal Rumble? Not how do we bank it all on Rumble? Like when Becky won the Rumble, she needed it. Storyline wise, she had to have it. There was no reason she was getting any of these chances. And she kept fighting and fighting, and she kept losing. I mean, she was winning a lot, but I mean, like, she kept losing those opportunities. She needed that to get to Mania. So I don't see anybody except for Seth who's consistently saying they want Roman or they want those titles, and they keep having obstacles put in their way, and they keep having things get in the way. For the whole past year, Seth was telling Edge, once I get through you, I'm onto the title. Then he tells Bobby Lashley, once I'm done with you, I'm getting to the title. He tells Theory, once I'm done with you, I'm going to the title. Like every single rivalry he's had. He had another one. I can't remember who it was. Cody. In fact, it was Cody. Like, once I get through you, Cody, I'm going for the title. Every story he's had for the last year has been, fuck, I got to deal with you. I really just want that title off Roman. You know what I mean? Like,
if you think about it, he's already set up for a match with Roman because he literally had the match with Rumble and he won by DQ. Roman got himself disqualified. Like, he's still pretty much in contention already. So again, he's another one that really doesn't actually need to win the Rumble right now because he's already, in my honest opinion, still up there to be challenging for him right now.
Except for everything he's done has gotten in the way of him actually challenging it. And then if you were to win the Rumble, that all goes aside. No matter what you're doing with who and when, you're guaranteed this one match on that night. And that's the only reason why it would make a ton of sense for him, because he keeps saying he wants Roman, and then someone else shows up and says, no, I want him. And then it's like, well, now we got to fight each other for the next 4 months. You know, like, something's always in his way. This gets rid of all those obstacles. But again, I don't know.
Plus, I think with the whole, like, having him go through, if Cody was going to go through Elimination Chamber to get to Roman, like, it's just weird because I think with the double, with Roman having both titles, you kind of really can't do just a number one contendership. It feels like the Rumble has to be the deciding factor right now, because at Elimination Chamber, Roman's probably defending in the chamber. So it's kind of a situation where it's like the Rumble has to be your set thing, and we're going to have to go through the 3 months of getting to WrestleMania. Like, I feel like it's put in that position now, and that's kind of going to affect a lot of different people story-wise, but I feel like that's kind of where we're at this point.
Yeah, I could see that. I actually thought for a while I wasn't going to be surprised at all, and it doesn't. I mean, they obviously can't do it now. I mean, you have I mean, I guess you could on SmackDown, maybe, but like, they've already got the KO match booked. I thought there was every possibility they might have Roman in the Rumble and actually win the Rumble, just to like really put his foot down and being like, 30 of you motherfuckers could not face me, to really build him up as like Thanos, you know? But we're obviously not doing that now. He's got that big match with KO, and I'm so fucking excited for this match with KO, dude. Everything that KO and Sammy, dude, I get like goosebumps. And when I'm watching Sammy and KO out there on the top like this, and watching Roman give them so much, And I told you before, we're gonna jump all around. Let me hit. Blue Boyd says I want to see Teal Piper. That'd be really great to see her actually pop up. I don't know why we don't see her on any larger platforms. The things I've seen of her have been very impressive. I don't know why.
Interested here. Like, I don't get why. It's another one of those situations where it's like, how long is it going to take before we actually get to see her?
Yeah, and even then, like, if she comes in while Rhonda's away, then Rhonda comes back with like a ready to go secondary story. You know, especially if you have Teal Piper, who's not allowed to be rowdy. She doesn't get to wear her dad's jacket, but Rhonda does. And especially if Rhonda's looking on going out, like if Rhonda only wants to do 1 more year or 6 more months, she could sit out for a bit. Teal Piper can come in and do all this stuff, and she could like fight for the jacket. You know, I want you to put my dad's jacket on the line. I want that back. That was supposed to be mine. You know what I mean?
Sounds very interesting. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I want the jacket, and I want your career. You know what I mean? I want to be the rowdy one. I am the rowdy one, and you've just been faking it. Everyone knows it. You know what I mean? You've been trying to keep me out of here. Like, you could do the whole thing. It'd be great. So yeah, Teal Piper, bring her in. Bring her in.
Yes.
She also says, I'm going to laugh if Logan Paul wins the Rumble. Dude, it could be Logan Paul. That was Roman's greatest match to date.
You think he's going to be in the Rumble?
He's got to be in the Rumble.
I mean,
why would you not put your biggest stars in the Rumble? You got to put him in there, Bad Bunny.
Is he healed up enough yet, though, to get in there?
He's healed enough to get in there and be thrown out.
I'm not the biggest Logan Paul guy, but it's like, if I could see him being in there if he's good to go, but I don't know how like long his injury is.
That's a good point. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know how injuries or contracts work. Grim Reaper says the crowd has to want Cody to win. I think they will. He won't get booed even when he's in the final 2. Everyone booed when Roman and Batista were in the final minutes. Yeah. I also think that Cody's got to go the whole distance. He's got to be 1 or 2.
That'd be crazy if he starts all the way and goes Shawn Michaels. That'd be even better.
Even if he doesn't win it, he's got to start 1. I think you start it with number 1 because it's like, oh my God, not only are we getting Cody, but they're starting with Cody. That gives room to breathe for any other surprises. The story becomes Cody, right? So then as Cody's in there, let's say Cena comes out, you have Cody looking over there like, God, you know what I mean? Like 20 minutes in, 30 minutes in, like, fuck, are you kidding me? Like, this motherfucker, you know what I mean? But I think that, yeah, you have Cody go the whole distance, and even if he's thrown out at the end, because I could see that. I could see the winner throwing out Cody in the final 2 and being like, he was this fucking close, just constantly this fucking close, just not getting there, you know? Jeez. And then you have him just on the outside, like, fuck, you know? After all of this, you know?
I'm feeling that one. Holy crap.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Green says, good point, Cody, number 1, so he gets the full entrance, embraces the people again. Yeah. He gets the time. He gets to stand there. He gets to soak him in. He doesn't got to run out to the ring and get his jacket off. Give him the whole thing, the crane shot, the crowd being like,
That gives him time to get that whole entrance in.
Yeah, get it in. Dude, we barely even talked about SmackDown, and I said like 20 minutes ago we're starting SmackDown. I don't know, man. I'm just hyped for Rumble, man. Let's see. Usos in the Judgment Day. I want to know what you, because like I said, I'm catching up with my drinking buddies. What do you think about everything that's going on with Dom?
I'm still not feeling it. I don't know what it is. Judgment Day is not hitting for me at all. Still,
it's because you'd never last in prison.
Oh my God!
You've been outmanned by Dom, is what it is. You know that
he's a punching bag for everybody at this point. He's basically become a punching bag for everybody. I just haven't been feeling the entirety of Judgment Day still. Like, I don't know what it is. It's since that whole the turning on Edge thing, it just really has threw me off, and it's just like my interest of it just never peaks. It just hasn't gotten to any extent of me caring yet, and I don't know why.
I was on the wrong page. I was talking about Raw.
Yeah, we're just, you said we're bouncing all over, so we're just gonna
yeah, we're just gonna go with it. Dude, the teardrop, the buttoned up top shirt, the one top button. Dom is killing this, dude. It's so good. I talked to Kevlar. I hadn't talked to him in a hot minute. He came by and visited me at my work the other day, and he only wanted to talk about like two things. He goes, I watched the last couple weeks, and one of the first things he said is like, this stuff with Dom is so fucking funny. He goes, I hated it. He goes, I hated him so bad for that. And then all of a sudden it clicked that I was getting worked. And he made it so funny. And I was like, Dom is brilliant at this. And the fact that Finn and Damian and Rhea are all letting him have it. Like, oh yeah, he's a badass now. Oh yeah, he went to prison. Like, and everyone else is like, what are you talking about? And they're all like, no, that's our guy now. Like, they give him something to fight for. So fucking good.
I mean, I give the rest of the group enough credit just for, sticking to the whole thing, just going like trying to give them that fucking up and up like every time, but like it's just not there yet. I'm not feeling it.
Circle of Debate's feeling it. Same brother man, J-Man in the house.
Oh, shit. Ivan's in the chat. Let's go.
Yeah. Cheers. Cheers to you. Thank you for coming through and having a drink with us. We always welcome new drinking buddies. I'm looking through SmackDown stuff. I'm not feeling Sheamus and Drew as a tag team anymore. I think that time came and went for me just because. Like, there was a time, you remember, there was a time on episode 1 I was saying, like, just tag them up already. Let them go be some badasses together. But they did so much with the Brawling Brutes that now it's like we've pushed the Brutes aside for sake of Drew. And it's like, I don't know what we're doing here. And I'm not feeling Sheamus and Drew coming in and just destroying every tag team that's been trying to build for the past year. Especially when they're already like shaking us in the tag division. Remember I was telling you, like, you had Hit Row, LDF, and Vikings all trying to establish who they are and who's strong, and it's just a mess. And then you have these dudes come in and go, oh yeah, you guys are all super weak. It's all Tweedledee and Tweedledum running around, and then you got these two dudes. And I'm like, look, yes, I get it. They're both badasses, but please, leave it.
I basically put Drew as an honorary member of Brawling Brutes at this point. But it's like, and I like the team. I'm glad they finally went with it. But it's like, again, it's the whole thing of Drew looking like really dominant. Because I'm like, I really like Drew McIntyre. But again, they just constantly book him so super strong where it's like, how long can you keep that going before people start to go, all right, when's it too much now? When's it too much?
I just think that when you have guys like the Viking Raiders, especially with Mahala behind them, there's really no reason to have two single guys team up and beat the shit out of them. Like, I mean, I get it. I think that there is a difference between putting Sheamus and Drew together than there was putting Triple H and Stone Cold together. You know what I mean? There is a difference there because these guys have a lot of history, but they're not even like struggling to get their timing right. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, we're just also the best tag team that's never done it together. We just always would be the best. We just didn't want to do like that's my. I mean, and I'm annoyed at Drew anyways. So,
I mean, they basically just go in there and wreck shit.
Sorry, that was Marv's. Dude, what do you been thinking about LA Knight and this Bray stuff? This is the first return we saw of the Firefly Funhouse. We saw Bray Wyatt's butt crack. And he did say that whatever comes through that door is on you now,
Love it. Absolutely love it. That whole, again, the early stages of it, it felt very repetitive. It was just Bray coming out talking and literally saying the same thing over and over again. And now it's it's hitting its things where it's like, this is really good. This is really good. And I keep getting these things where I'm like, I love the little tidbits we're getting out of this. I love this.
Yeah, this
I'm so
felt like a
excited.
big step.
What's going to come out of that door? I cannot wait to see what's going to happen in this pitch black match. This is going to be very, very interesting. And especially after what happened on Raw, like I can't even imagine like what Bray's going to have in mind for stuff to do now. Like it's going to be crazy.
Do you think we get the Fiend back at Rumble?
I don't know. I feel like yes, which would be very interesting. But then it's like, I don't know. Well, people are probably gonna have a fit if LA Knight wins over the Fiend because of like, oh, I don't know. Probably if like Uncle Howdy shows up and screws the Fiend over. I don't know.
I can
Bliss
see like
again doing it?
Well, she did it at Mania. Last time we saw Fiend, she cost Fiend the match against Orton.
I don't know. It's a lot of different ways to go with it. Like you could, like I said, this is just really, really interesting. Like I love the little tidbits we're getting out of it, where it's like, oh, here's this. Bray's bringing back the Firefly Funhouse, teasing more like, is it going to get the Fiend? Are we going to get some different kind of like character? We don't know yet. Like it's really, really gotten to the interesting part now. And when this pitch black match happens, it's going to get really, really good. I can just feel it right now.
Do you think they have anybody? Do you think someone exists in the world who has a similar body to Bray Wyatt?
Oh, geez. That's actually a good question.
Because what if during this match he comes out as Bray, but the Fiend pops up and does something? You know what I mean? As like coming through the door. You'd have to be really careful because you don't want it to just be because Uncle Howdy Boy definitely has a different body type than Bray. And even when they tried to make it look like it was similar, you could just tell it was not.
Yeah. He's very skinny.
Yeah. So I just wonder if you'd be able to do it in a way. And I wouldn't want them to do it like on the screen. Like I wouldn't want them to be backstage and all of a sudden I'd want it to be in ring. But I don't know. In my mind, Bray's got to come out as Bray. But something happens where the Fiend becomes a factor. But I don't want it to be on the screen. I'm really hopeful. But I think that we definitely see the Fiend somehow. I just don't know if the match ends up being against the Fiend. I just don't know.
So it'd be like the thing like when he came back, where all the characters were there. So we're just going to get some kind of appearance of the Fiend.
Maybe in the ring, maybe, or you know what you could do, because it's the Fiend. You could have the Fiend poke his head up under the ring and yank LA Knight down under the ring. You know, because then you don't need to see the body.
Yes. That sounds
get away with
very
some
good.
shit like that. I don't know, man. I'm loving all the LA Knight stuff. And fuck it, let's talk about LA Knight and Bray on Raw. Let's jump around, like we said.
Yes. God, the passing of the torch, as everyone was calling it. Passing of the torch.
So, without trying to be an idiot, wrong answers only. Could you successfully read the lips of Undertaker? The only word I really caught was something about darkness.
Yeah, somebody when WWE put the tweet out that when they showed that and they were just like respect and he showed him like whispering in his ear and everything, and somebody looked like they actually like were able to read what he said and to him and said something about like, you're the new Undertaker, darkness is forever. And I was like, if that's what he said, that's massive for Bray. Taker has a lot of freaking belief in Bray Wyatt. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. That moment was amazing, though. LA Knight coming out, talking shit on all the old legends. You hear the gong, and he's just like, fuck. And then if Undertaker, I mean, God, Bray and LA Knight in that segment with the Undertaker. And you know the Undertaker can just say no to whatever he wants. He's the Undertaker. There's a lot of belief behind LA Knight to be this close to those guys, for those guys to be working together with him. Like, because even Undertaker was putting over LA Knight there in a way. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't out there like taking hits from him, but LA Knight's talking shit. Yeah, he let him talk. He let him talk and say his thing. He stared him down. Like, he didn't cower because he's a badass, but he also was like, I'm willing to fight you. You know what I mean? Like, LA Knight was getting a hell of a rub out there from both of those dudes. And for Undertaker to give that moment to Bray that way.
Mm-hmm.
Also with the choke slam into the Sister Abigail. Dude. It was just amazing. I couldn't have been happier for LA Knight to begin with. I'm so happy with what they're doing. But to me, that moment the gong hit and the way that it played out, as the longer it went, I was like, oh, in the back, they really believe in LA Knight. And Undertaker believes in LA Knight. But also Undertaker was handing it over to Bray. Like, that was so good. Cool, man.
I called him the greatest of all time for a reason. It's never changed. The Undertaker is the greatest of all time. Every time. And it's just like, the fact that he has this much confidence in both of those guys right there for that whole entire thing. Like, I'm going to listen to him talk and I'm not going to do a damn thing. And then when it comes down to me actually looking like I could be the one to take him out, no, Bray's coming out here. Here, you do it. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Dude, that was really close to my favorite segment of the whole night on Raw 30. Because it was just so good and set me up. I'm so stoked for Rumble. I can't wait to see what those guys are putting together. But before we go to that, let's rewind back to SmackDown a little bit.
Okay.
You're getting the Blackout Mountain Dew for Rumble, right? At this point?
I'm going to. Easily.
If you don't get it, dude, like, I don't even want to hear from you until you have it.
Got it. I will find it.
Grim Reaper says he whispered in his ear and it was a shout to everyone that Bray is the guy. Yeah, and the look on Bray's face, dude. Because that was the other thing, the amount of history behind them. The amount of times, remember when the Firefly Funhouse was really in its peak and The Fiend was getting revenge on everyone who wronged him, the way he murdered John Cena? And everyone kept saying, well, The Undertaker has to be on that list. The Undertaker never quite gave it over to Bray. Bray never became that next face of fear. Like, Undertaker won all that. This felt like the next best thing. If you weren't going to do a cinematic match where Fiend consumes the Undertaker, this was almost better. You know?
It's almost kind of making up for the WrestleMania match, if you think about it. Since Taker beat him there, maybe Taker wanted Bray to beat him there and was like, well, shit, I guess I'm going to have to beat him here. But then it's like, you know what? I'm going to make it up to him by giving him this moment right here, because it just screams so much belief in Bray Wyatt from Taker, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. Let's see, SmackDown had a lot of tag team matches. They were doing the tag team tournament thing, which I felt was only hurt by the fact that it's just so obvious they're trying to go to Sheamus and Drew. And to be honest, Sheamus and Drew against the Usos does not excite me. Although the Bar and Usos have been fire, I'd much rather see Imperium and Usos or Legado and Usos, you know?
It's very, very predictable right now, just by the tournament final, what it's going to be.
So,
I almost thought we were going to get Sheamus and Drew versus Brawling Brutes, because holy crap, what the hell are we going to do here?
yeah.
But now it's just kind of obvious that we're going to get Imperium in the finals with them, and more than likely get Drew and Sheamus again. And it's just like, they've already had their opportunity. Why are we not giving these other teams opportunities here? Like,
Yep. Let me see. There was all that Charlotte and Sonya stuff. I'm not really feeling. Are you liking the Charlotte as babyface stuff?
no, because I don't believe that she's a freaking babyface at all. There's nothing that gives me babyface vibes whatsoever when she comes out.
No, it always sounds forced and delusional to me, but we'll keep it moving. All the Paul Heyman and Sami Zayn stuff has been intense.
God.
Brutes and Imperium. Hold on, let me just see before, because we'll probably wrap up on that one. Oh my God, Maximum Models. I'm scrolling through here to see, because we'll talk about that and go into Raw, I think. The contract signing. Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about that. All the bloodline stuff, Sammy, KO, Paul Heyman. It's been fucking killer, dude. I couldn't believe how strong they made Kevin Owens look at the end of this with that contract signing. Just laying out everyone like he's fucking stone cold, standing there. Sammy running after him, screaming, and KO tossing the contract at Sammy, who catches it. And KO rolling out and taking off up the ramp. Dude, how strong did it make Sammy look in that moment? Because KO comes out and immediately goes after the Usos, immediately goes after Solo, takes out Roman and puts him through a table. You have Paul screaming, I have a family. He's like, I'm for kids, you know?
Oh, I love Heyman's I love Heyman when he gets terrified like that. Like, especially like when people used to do when he was with Brock and he would just scream, I'm just an advocate. I'm just an advocate. I love
exactly.
it. Heyman's fear is great.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't take it out on me, please. Like, yes, it's amazing. And then as soon as Sammy shows up, KO's like, I'm out. He's like, that's a fight I'm not looking to have tonight. It's like, fuck, dude. He went straight for Roman and all of his boys. But he sees Sammy and goes, not tonight. I got to be ready for my fight on Saturday. Fuck.
Somebody put the thing out there, like, what if Kevin Owens didn't sign his name on the contract and he signed Sami Zayn's on there? Like, that would have been so interesting to put Sammy in that position.
That's so stupid. That's stupid.
It's so
fraud, man. It's like it was. I mean, it's not like it's impossible to think because what was it? Corbin or no? Corbin was supposed to have the match, and then John Cena came out and signed it that one time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not how contracts work. I don't understand contracts, but I don't believe that you can just sign anyone's contract and that works now. I believe that contracts are predetermined to a certain degree. I can't walk into somebody on the end of their home loan and actually sign my name on it and be like, sweet, my home loan now. Like,
thanks for paying for it.
I'm approved. Like, no, like, it's very much outlined with names. Like, so yeah, I don't think that KO signing Sami Zayn's name should theoretically justify that. Well, that's what it says, because otherwise you're gonna have Daffy Duck in the main event at some point. There's just no way you get away from it.
Anyway, this whole thing is just excellent. Like, it's been so good. Out of a reign that I've just been kind of like, all right, I'm waiting for it to end here. The Sami Zayn stuff in between it just keeps me like absolutely invested every time. It's so good. It's so good. It's just the only thing like for like what happened on like Monday to me, I look at it and I go, it almost felt like rushed. Like we were rushing to get Sammy out, but then they turned it around and kept him in. And I'm like, yes, keep it going. Just a little bit longer. Keep it going.
Dude, when I first got back into wrestling, it was the SummerSlam that Finn and Seth had for Universal title. I'd stopped watching for a long time. And it was taking place in Brooklyn, and I was living in New York, and a bunch of people I knew from work were going. And I was like, I haven't watched wrestling in a long time, but I mean, I love wrestling. So I got the network because it was one of those like, hey, if you don't have the network, it's 99 cents for the first 3 months or something. And I was like, I'm going to watch it and talk to my boys about it at work, and it's going to be cool. And it was the whole weekend, dude. So I saw NXT, and I watched Asuka versus Bayley, and I was all like, whoa, women's wrestling is way different now. And I was like, who are these ladies and why weren't they around in the 90s? You know, I remember seeing obviously Finn and Seth and thought, oh, the top of wrestling has changed. It's a different thing. And this is amazing. And I just started watching after that point. The second I saw Sami Zayn, I connected to him. I was like, this is my guy, dude. Like, something about him I just really liked. And I never wavered from him or Bayley as like my top two. Like, when I've got a ton of like trading cards signed by people, my collection of Bailey and Sami Zayn signed cards is ridiculous. It's stupid. Like, I'm not like the people who spend $10,000, $1,000, $800 on a card, but I am the type of dude to try and get as many as I can for as little as possible. Like, realistically, I have more Bailey and Sami Zayn autographs than anybody else in my whole house. And I've met several people a number of times and gotten several autographs a number of times. Like, I think Becky's like a third, but like, yeah, my Bailey and Sami, like, I just can't get enough. It's like, oh, they have a new signature card. I need it, right? It's been so cool for me to watch Sami to get to this point, because that was like, what, 2016? I got to meet Sami during the pandemic on one of the video ones.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, I started watching back then, and I was like, you and Bailey became my guys. You were the two that I latched onto. And I was like, you know, you always just get your favorites. And he goes, oh, he goes, that's so cool. And he goes, what was I even doing on that SummerSlam? And I was like, I'll be honest, I don't remember you on that SummerSlam. I think it was the next show that I saw you on that did it. And he goes, no, I was on that. He goes, I was on the kickoff. He goes, it was, and he goes, it's the funny thing. He goes, it was just a throwaway match. And he goes, but it was me and Neville against the Dudley Boys in their very last WWE match ever. And I was all like, what? And he was all like, yeah. And I was like, I'm going to go back and rewatch it. And he goes, you should. He goes, I believe it was a really good match. And he's like, but it was just this throwaway thing, their last match ever. And it was against me and Neville on a kickoff. And I went back and watched it because he told me to. And it was awesome. So for me, because this is, you know, leading into, he gets onto the main roster. He's doing the main roster stuff. He does all the Braun Strowman stuff, and he's just jobbing. He wins a match by Braun Strowman against Braun Strowman, literally by the stipulation being as long as he doesn't lose it in 10 minutes. If he loses in less than 10 minutes, he's done. But it's a win as long as he lasts that amount of time.
Yes.
They throw him in dumpsters. They have him fucking go through a trash compactor. They're just beating the shit out of Sami in every way. And Kevlar used to give me such shit for it. And he would be like, I don't see what you're seeing. I was like, I'm telling you, this guy is incredible. They put together on the network at the time a compilation of Sami's greatest NXT matches. Or it wasn't even just NXT. It was other ones. But they showed him and Cesaro and him and Shinsuke. And I was just watching these, and I was sending clips to Kev, like, look at this guy. Like, this is insane. So to get to this point now, it feels like when the Cubs went to the World Series. It's like, yeah, we've been through 100 years of failure. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we've been through 100 years of never being the team to do it. We're cursed by the GOAT, you know? I've been a Padres fan and a Cubs fan my whole life, so it's like I'm used to the underdog story, the underdog from the underground, all that stuff. Like, to see Sami go from that to here, to be so undeniable, because that was the other thing Kevlar wanted to talk to me about. How amazing is Sami doing? You know, like, to see Bailey and Sami on top the way they are, dude, it feels so good to watch.
It's the evolution of Sami Zayn. It's amazing. It's been incredible. You know, he's had his ups and downs where he's been like booked like crap, barely done anything. Had his really good moments, like during the pandemic stuff with like Jeff and AJ ladder match. Like, that shit's amazing.
Amazing. Yes. Still probably my favorite ladder match to date.
Anything that he does with KO is always amazing. And now it's just like him getting in the bloodline has just been astronomical for him, because look how much it's got him over. People chant for him every time they know he's supposed to be on the show. They start chanting for him every single time. He is over like crazy right now. It's done wonders for him right now.
Dude, it's done wonders for KO right now. Would KO be in this position right now if Sami wasn't in his position right now? And I mean that also, and vice versa. They have such a brotherhood. You've seen that clip after Kevin Owens won the Universal title the first time backstage.
Yes.
Sami runs up to him and hugs him in Gorilla, and KO just says, "This is for us. This is ours." Because KO and him have been so intertwined their whole careers that it's like, if I'm up here, I won't allow you to be down here. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be brought up, right? they've been bringing each other along through so much, and the emotion is so there that, like, even in that moment a week or two ago, a couple weeks ago, where KO's like, I just don't want anything to do with you. And he's even saying, like, I'm so happy that the crowd gets it now. They see what I've been seeing for 20 years, what I've always known about you. Like, that's what he meant when he hugged him and said, this is for us, because he knows how good Sammy is and what he's capable of. And for him to have that Universal title and to say, all I want to do is share it with Sammy.
Mhm.
I can't imagine Sammy's not there in the middle of all this and being like, how do we get KO involved? You know what I mean? How do we
Mhm.
share this? Like, when Sami Zayn won the NXT title, it was the debut night for KO.
Mhm.
And they talked about how they were friends and how Sammy got there before him and all that. And how does the show go off the air? KO absolutely destroying Sammy. Sammy had a very short run as NXT champion because it was meant to pass on to KO. Like, this is just like, this is the stuff about wrestling that is hard to step away from when you're a big fan. When you see these kinds of things, these stories build, and these, when you know that little backstage, like, it's almost emotional, you know, like,
Those two always want to elevate each other, and that's the thing about it. They always want to elevate each other. If one goes up, the other has to come with. That's how close their bond is, and it's amazing. It's unbelievable.
Dude, incredible. And then on Raw with the trial of Sammy. Dude, that one got me choked up too. The Sammy stuff, they put so much emotion in these, dude. When Jay stops Solo, Jay's promo, that was main event Jey Uso again. You know what I mean? The way he cut that promo, he goes, when I didn't like you, he goes, I despised you. And he goes, but you stay true. And he goes, because that's what family do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the fact that he was fighting for Sammy because Sammy never turned his back to Jay no matter what Jay did. The fact that he stood by Jay's side. And when Jay didn't like him, he still fought for him to prove himself. Oh, you don't like me? That's okay. We'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
That whole breakdown with Jay. It's easy to forget in an ensemble like that and to think that Jay is one of the Usos and that they're the best tag team. But you see those breakout moments and you go, no, Jay could also be the top of the division as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what'd you think of that segment?
That whole excellent, like, unbelievable, like, done segment. Again, I thought the whole, when Heyman started talking and he just, like, all of a sudden has this disdain for Sammy, I go, there's something about this that just makes me feel like we're rushing this a little too soon, like right now. And I'm just listening to Heyman talk and I'm going in and I'm just like, okay, verdict's coming up. And Jay is the one to immediately go in there. And I'm like, oh, this is about to get really good. And he shows the montage of Sammy willing to go in there and take the bullet for the family. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like, look at how much Jay has turned his opinion on Sammy now. How it went from, why the hell are you in our family? You're not actually part of our family. What are you doing here? And now it's, you're like a brother to me, even though we're not actually blood. You're like a brother to me right now. And it's like, oh my God, it was just unbelievable. Unbelievable segment.
Dude, and then it was amazing and emotional. Dude, I was so into it. And then they have the match. Every single facial expression Sammy has is amazing. Dude, when producer lady brought it up when we were watching, she goes, Sammy's the only one without a lay. They all had their lays on. And she's, a little keenly aware of it just in general because of her time in Hawaii. And I was like, that's a good point. It does make him look a little ostracized, but at the same time, this is the trial of Sammy. So why wouldn't you say, hey, get it? And so at the end of the thing, for Jay to take his off and put it on him, for Jay to, like, say, I'm fighting for Sammy, for Jay to defend Sammy to the tribal chief and not just bow to him, but like, no, that's our guy. It was just amazing. And then the match afterwards, Jimmy gets injured. Sami Zayn puts himself in the match because they already set the precedent with Dominic, your favorite. And the fact that they finished it on the 1D, the fact that they did the 1D to finish the match,
absolutely incredible. I loved it. I love how they did that. The way Jimmy goes down and Sammy again, because Roman still has those doubts on that now. All of a sudden, has those doubts on Sammy, and then Sammy just says, "You know what? I'm going in. I'm going in. You always want to keep your tag titles? I'll go in for Jimmy." And it was just along for the ride for the rest of it. And that whole match was just really, really, it was great. And the way they got Sammy in there, having him and Jay hit the 1D was just incredible storytelling. Incredible.
Yeah. All right. I think I'm back. Because everything on my side just started reloading.
Oh, jeez.
So I couldn't tell what was going on. But it looks like we're still live. We're still going.
Okay.
It's only episode 1, guys. It's just a technical difficulty. It happens on new shows. For 3 years, we've been perfecting the art of episode 1. Take a drink. Actually, really close to 4. This April will be 4th.
Really?
Let's see. Real quick. Let me catch up on the chat and we'll circle back. Circle of Debate says my predictions, the last 4 in the Rumble, Cody, Jay, Sammy, Mystery Person, and from there the breakup story begins. Because I had said something about that before. Who did I have? At the time it was Jay. I had Jay Uso. Oh, wait. Here's what she said. I had Jay Uso, Sammy, Cody, and I think I had KO.
Oh, Kevin's going to have the match and then enter the Rumble still, too?
No, not anymore. But in the moment, because remember I said the final 4 then, and I said that Sammy was going to look at Jay and be like, let's get rid of KO.
Uh-oh. Technical difficulties again.
Right?
Yeah. It's like I said, if we're going to start the story here,
Solo would have to be the 4th, and Solo would have to do something.
that'd be so good. That'd be crazy having Cody being up against the odds here with the bloodline in there.
Yeah.
Be kind of interesting, though. I'd be kind of all for that.
Yeah.
Solo getting the Rumble.
Yeah. Yeah. I still think that in that case, you'd have. You still there?
Yep.
We're still live? Oh my God.
Yes.
Guys, it's incredible. Incredible. This is why this platform is better than the old platform. We would have had to start over. Take a drink. Oh, one. We lost the internet in the house for a minute.
Oh shit. I was like, what the hell happened?
That's funny. Take over, J-Man. Did you take over? Were you saying stuff or were you just stay quiet?
Oh, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck?
So tell people what you're thinking.
I don't know, because I didn't know what else happened. You just kind of like stopped, and then I didn't get to hear the rest of what you were saying. So
that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that maybe Seth, Cody, Jay, Sammy could work theoretically, but I think that Jay and Sammy, I don't know. After that last promo segment, I don't know that you could have Jay turn on Sammy and it not feel out of place anymore. He just came up for him, you know? Yeah. Solo's the only one that could really like toss him.
I mean, he seemed like, especially what he tweeted out after that segment, and he told him like when he had him and when Jay stopped him and he was like, get off me, like it sounded like he was literally ready to pull the trigger on Sammy, which is crazy. That makes it just like even more interesting.
Yeah, and when they did the vote, you know, if you want Sammy to stay in the bloodline, put up the ones. Solo never did. You know? Yep. But it's been amazing, dude. This is so fucking good. It's so good. Again,
the Roman's reign as itself has just been kind of like meh, flatlining a little bit. But you got the Sammy stuff in it the whole time, and that's just enough to keep it interesting right now.
Do you think with them showing Sammy holding the tag titles, obviously there's a world where you could get to Sammy versus KO for a world title at Mania, which I would like. But do you also think that they're teasing the possibility of the two of them teaming up and taking those titles off the Usos? I feel like they got bigger fish to fry.
I could see it happening, though. I just feel like it's going to come down to something where they're going to kick Sammy out and Kevin's going to have to come out to be like the savior for Sammy. And it's just going to cause this whole chaotic thing where they're just going to get the shit kicked out of them. And then we're leading towards Sammy and KO realigning and taking those tag titles off the Usos at this point.
Maybe.
Of course, I would love to see them in a world title feud because they absolutely deserve to be a world title feud.
Yeah.
But I just can't see it happening just yet. I think it'll be sometime down the road, but not right now. I think they're taking those tag titles off the Usos.
Let's see, the Undertaker and LA Knight stuff. Dude, okay, so this was my biggest issue with the night. Bayley versus Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be my WrestleMania. I think in my mind, I mean, I even said it last week. I said it the week before. Like, I don't know why you would do it on a Raw, put them in a cage and have a big blow off. But if we're going to do it, I guess we're going to do it big, right?
Mm-hmm.
For them to take the match away really sucked.
Yes. I was extremely disappointed. Like that promo they cut the week before the cage match, I was not a fan of it. The whole calling each other a dope and calling each other a Karen and saying you have no friends. I'm like, segment's not really hitting for me. But when they announced the cage match, I'm like, okay, well, this should be, I know this is already going to be awesome to watch. And then it's just like, we get to the cage match and just nothing. And I was like, really? Why? I'm like, we sat through that kind of really big letdown segment for you to announce a dope cage match, and then you don't even pull the trigger on it. Like,
the only thing I can hope for is that means we're actually getting to the Becky Bayley Hell in a Cell,
which would be awesome.
Which will be awesome. But as much as I liked so much of the Raw, especially the first hour and a half, the only reason I was really tuning in was for that match. I've been texting my brother about it for like a week, almost every day, being like, dude, it's coming up. It's going to be my night. And then that Monday morning, I was like, tonight's my WrestleMania, dude. We're doing it. And for it to just be taken away like that, I was like, oh, Well, I guess
think
other cool stuff's going to happen.
I think a lot of people are tuning in for that match, and they just pulled the rug out from underneath you.
Like, I always think it's cool to see the legends do stuff. And we'll talk about one of the segments that I thought was really fun. But not getting that match fucking sucked. I did not like it. Although I do think it makes Bayley look cool and maniacal. It makes Damage Control look strong. It made Becky look a little... I mean, Becky looked strong because she saw them and went for them. She just was outnumbered.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we get, like, a couple of tag matches before we get to Becky Bayley one-on-one Hell in a Cell at, like, a Mania or something?
I don't know. Would you think they'd have that at Mania? That'd be pretty awesome for a Mania match, but I feel like you'd have to add a little bit more in between it.
I think you need a title in there somehow.
I don't even really think you even need the title. You could just put those two in Hell in a Cell if they have this big, like, disdain for each other. But I think you just need a little bit more of something in the middle first that leads up to Hell in a Cell. Like, it's going to have to be a little something else of, like, Becky getting beat up again or something like that.
Some sort of Extreme Rules match in between.
Yeah. Like, maybe even have the cage match actually, or have a no disqualification match or something where, like, Dakota and Io are banned from ringside or something like that.
Yeah. I just don't think you can go to, like, a Falls Count Anywhere or a Last Woman Standing match before doing a Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Because as much as Hell in a Cell is supposed to be, like, the pinnacle, something about Last Woman Standing feels pretty fucking pinnacle. Like, even when I think about the Becky Charlotte stuff, I don't know if any match was as big or impactful as the Last Woman Standing match's Evolution.
Yeah, that match was
apart from
amazing.
Becky having her moment at Mania, which was a triple threat. But I think, like, Charlotte one-on-one Becky, it's the Evolution match. That's it. We didn't need a Hell in a Cell for them. They had that match. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I was super bummed. Really disappointed. But
Me too.
if they got bigger plans, I'm into that. So we'll see.
Agree.
The Charlotte Sonya Bianca thing, that felt so house show to me and corny. Like, it was this weird, like, it felt like they're gonna be all like, it felt like a house show where they say Charlotte makes an appearance and so does Bianca. You'll see her in action. And then you get there and they cut this kind of like half-assed promo back and forth that ends in a jobber match with somebody else. And you go, oh, okay. Like, this felt like this didn't have to be on TV. I'm glad it was because I think those women deserve TV time. But it didn't feel special. It felt forced and thrown together and not all that interesting.
I said it was a bad trade. It was literally a bad trade when you could have had a cage match and we get drunk Ric Flair, a Charlotte pandering segment, and a regular / house show match, and that was about it. Like,
yeah,
not really worth it.
That's true. And I wish we got a little bit more of the women's legends. The only woman legend I saw was Medusa, right?
Yeah, she was the only one at during the poker tournament thing that was happening backstage.
Yeah,
and that was it.
Which, by the way, I think DDP cheated. I don't buy that he could outplay her in cards.
You don't think DDP's that good at cards?
I don't think he's better than Medusa at cards.
Wow, DDP, that card game up, bro.
But I'm surprised they didn't even have Molly Holly. We know she's a producer backstage. Put her out there for a minute. You know,
it's like the whole thing with that the Bellas were there.
Oh, that's true. Michelle C says, I can't believe Charlotte left out the horsewomen in her little speech and ring. Yeah, remember when she was all like, oh, all these great women. She was all like, Bianca and Asuka. She's like, I faced these amazing women, but did not mention Becky.
Yeah,
did not mention Bayley. I was like, the fact that Becky wasn't on your list of your highlights, you're bitter. You're bitter and you're petty. That's fine.
Be right back.
We'll be
Hold on.
Oh my God. Justin's diving out on me. Let's see. As we keep going through a little bit, one of the segments that I really liked, especially when it comes down to the legends, was DX coming out. I thought that was really funny. I mean, what was funny about the Kurt Angle bit inside of it was that for a second, I thought he was Billy Gunn. Because you just see the numbers and you see who you're used to seeing, and then you see Kurt Angle coming up in the rear. And I saw his bald head and didn't think much about it. And I was like, oh shit, did they get Billy Gunn finally? Because I know that they obviously had an issue with him before, obviously being under AEW contract and such. So I thought it was funny that, after a second or two of me seeing Kurt, my thought was they got Billy Gunn. And so I liked that they go in there. Road Dogg starts cutting his promo, and then he goes up to say badass Billy Gunn and sees Kurt, and he goes, wait, what? And Kurt played it so well. Dude, I always want to be part of DX.
I couldn't stop laughing at it. It was so funny. It was hysterical. Just the way Road Dogg is going full investment into the usual shtick of, the badass Billy Gunn. I'm like, he goes, the badass. I'm like, I guess close enough, Kurt.
Yeah. Kurt, what are you doing here? It was really fun. And there was a moment, too, where I'm watching it, and I was just thinking, I hope that these guys are having even more fun than I'm having watching it. And then to see Sean Waltman tweet out a bunch about how it was the most fun he's had almost ever made me really happy. Like, you could just tell it was so good. I mean, my obvious critique would be that it didn't make sense. I mean, I think Imperium made sense in a sense that was kind of funny. They're trying to be serious. I like that everyone's like, I can't do it. I'm too old, this and that. Seth Rollins made a ton of sense because of his history with Triple H. I'll fight on your behalf. Street Profits made no sense to me. I'm obviously not a huge fan of Street Profits in general, but I get the concept that they are the pinnacle of the sports entertainment versus the actual in-ring seriousness that is Imperium. I mean, everything that Street Profits do is for a laugh, and you're not meant to take them seriously anyways, and they wrestle like they don't mean it. So I could see that the dichotomy between them and Imperium is there, but I didn't see like a connection between Street Profits and the DX at all. You know what I mean?
No.
Or Seth, because I was thinking Seth could bring out a couple friends or something. Seth could bring out a team that would make sense. They just didn't say anything other than they were just back there and wearing shorts and ready to go. Like, it just seems weird,
It's just basically because they're like, what, the only face team on Monday Night Raw, if you think about it. They're like the only, I think they're the only babyface tag team, if I'm not mistaken.
Who could Seth have brought out?
That's tough.
It could have made sense.
Nobody really has any, like, association right now with Imperium, so.
Or Seth.
No.
Or history with DX.
Yeah, no. They just went with the only babyface tag team because that was there.
Yeah. Yeah, Michelle C says Montez just takes away from everyone else, too distracting. Yeah, he's very much a look at me type. Circle of Base says, for a minute, the crowd was booing when Triple H said who could make this match happen. I'm pretty sure people thought it was going to be Vince, but it was Teddy. I was waiting to say The Undertaker.
I do. I thought he was going to say, Imperium, you're going to go one-on-one with The Undertaker. And I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't work that way, Teddy. But he said 6-man tag match. And he called them Imperium, and I laughed. I was like, he called him Imperium.
Yeah. Dude, Teddy was so fun. That whole segment I thought was really good overall. I liked even Triple H being like, this booking thing's really hard.
I was like, okay, fourth wall breaks. Hold on a sec here.
Yeah, but DX was always into that fourth wall break thing too. And that stare down between Triple H and Gunther, even though you just can never get it, there's that moment where you go like, God, in another life.
Right? It's just like, I wish. Yeah. But I love that they didn't. I love that they didn't do the same thing like they did at FTR or the Revival when they were here. I love that they didn't do that. Thank God.
Which was actually a funny tweet by X-Pac as well, where he tweeted out his only regret was they didn't all get to land their finishers on guys who have to sell tickets once they leave. as a joke, he was being sarcastic, and other people in his comments were just going nuts, being like, "Come on, man, you're better than that. Oh, we trying to bury the future?" Like, and it was this whole thing where he's like, it was so funny. He's like, "I just wish I hit my finish on the guys."
One request: can we get Sean Waltman in the Royal Rumble this year, please?
That's what I want so bad. That's the biggest thing I want for Rumble, is just to see X-Pac out there one more time in the Rumble.
Me too. I want to see it. We've been going, can we get X-Pac in the Rumble now? Huh? Just one appearance. That's all it needs to be. Like, he's been everywhere else, like GCW and everything. Yep. How come we can't get him in a WWE ring one more time? Like, come on.
I just want to hear make some noise, get screamed over the PA, and see that motherfucker come down with an energy drink. Remember that shit? He had that fucking energy. He was sponsored by the energy drink, and they even made a T-shirt of him doing the cross chop to the energy drink.
Yes. Oh my god. Cool. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, that segment was great. They were all really funny together. And the match wasn't bad. I just wasn't all that into it, just because it was just
random.
It was the long way around to get to a match that really didn't mean anything with people who don't really have a story together. But it was good. But it was one of those things where it's all like, I don't know why they didn't do the cage match first off. Let's assume, because here's the other thing, as people are reporting, well, originally Becky was supposed to win, or they were going to do that. You don't fucking know. I don't buy it for a second. Anybody fucking knows. They just are all trying to save their ass.
The only thing I've seen was people talking about of course, people wanting to be journalists and everything else supposedly was the fact that the trial went too long, and that was the reason why they cut the cage match. But it's like, I don't really
know, because why would you cut that but not Street Profits, Rollins, Imperium? You know what I mean? Like, that match could have been half the time. That match went on really long.
You literally could have cut the entirety of Charlotte showing up, Ric Flair showing up, and the Bianca and Sonya freaking match, and there could fill the time if you were so desperate on their not having enough time. Like,
you could have literally cut everything with the Miz and KO. Like, that didn't do anything. That was static. That was just KO for the sake of KO. That was can we get a stunner on the show because Austin's not here tonight? Like, that was it. Like, you could have cut that for sure. You know, basically. You could have cut you probably could have shaved off a little bit of time of the poker night. You know what I mean? Like, especially with JBL trying to get Baron Corbin in, that ran a little long. Like, you could have shaved off a lot. And again, Street Profits, Seth Rollins, Imperium, fine match. Didn't have to be half as long as it was.
It was just good for a TV. That was it.
Yeah. It was just, I mean, that could have been a dark match. That would have been a great dark match. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, like, imagine
those six people in the ring together, and people just like, we're about to leave, but we have a dark match for you guys. Like, can't tell me they wouldn't stay back. Like, come on.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I don't really buy that as like the thing. I think people are just trying to talk themselves into credibility, and they don't have it, and so they have to pretend they do. Yes. At least we're honest about it.
There you go.
Yeah, I guess the only other thing that really happened there, as I'm looking through it, was Brock Lesnar coming out and beating the shit out of Bobby Lashley. I did think it was funny. He F5's Bobby, and then F5's Theory onto Bobby for the win. It was funny because as we're watching, producer lady had asked me, like, what are they doing here? You know, this is the main event. I was like, it's kind of crazy. Theory and Bobby Lashley have been the main event of Raw for a couple weeks. And I was like, makes me think something big's going to happen here. And I almost said, feels like Brock Lesnar is going to come out or something. But I decided not to, just because I was like, well, doesn't have to be Brock, I guess. So when Brock came out, I was like, yeah, fucking knew it. F5's Bobby, F5's Theory, and then kind of leaves. So we're clearly getting Bobby and Brock again. But just a fucking... Do you think we're going to get something like the Bobby Goldberg match? Remember how good that was in Saudi?
Yes, love that match. That was actually really good for even a Goldberg match.
It was easily the best Goldberg match he's ever had. Like, I don't even know that I don't think I would even entertain someone telling me that there was 2 or 3 matches they would put in consideration above that. I don't think that there is a consideration for best Goldberg match of all time. Like, that's it.
Even their first match, that they had, like Lashley and Goldberg, like the fact that you actually had Goldberg get hurt and Lashley beat the shit out of him,
Yeah,
like
that's crazy.
That's big for Bobby Lashley. Like, he beat the shit out of Goldberg. The guy that everyone looks at and goes, it's Goldberg. He's unstoppable. Bull crap. Bobby Lashley beat him up to the point that he couldn't even continue the match. Like,
Goldberg is very good at winning.
Yes. It's like I loved the theory landing on the F5. Like, I was like, that was a great landing. But my interest in seeing Brock and Lashley is just dipping a lot because their first two matches really haven't really done it for me. Like, their Saudi match was a huge letdown. Their match at Rumble was a massive letdown. Like, my interest is just kind of really, they set the bar really low for a third match. This really sucks.
But Brock has a way about him of not being really happy when it doesn't go as good as it can. I mean, think about all the Roman Brock matches that kind of led up to the SummerSlam match. There was a few of them where it's all like, yeah, it wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, it could have been better. Like, wasn't what I expected. And then he finally was like, all right, we're doing it. And we're doing it right. We're doing it at SummerSlam. I think that Brock gets a chip on his shoulder when the matches aren't coming together like he knows they can. And I feel like there's a chip on Bobby and Brock's shoulder on both of them, not being happy that people aren't talking about them as a rivalry that should go down, you know? So I think that that's what excites me about this is that Brock didn't have to come back for this. Bobby doesn't need Brock right now. So for the fact that they're making it happen makes me think that the two of them are like, what's going wrong here? And how do we just beat the shit out of each other? You know?
Mm-hmm.
I think that whatever they do next, do you think that they wait for Mania or do you think they put it on a show in between?
I would save it for Mania if we have to. Like, but let's make sure that this one is like,
I would, yeah.
Let this be like Goldberg and Brock at WrestleMania for the Universal title, how that match was literally just 5 minutes of actually really good freaking stuff. Like, let them have Mania and actually let's make this one good. Like, because I'll go into this match right now low expectations, but if they blow it, like completely blow it out of the fucking water, I'll be like, let's go. I'm glad I freaking went into this with low expectations.
Do you think you have them keep it in ring, or do you think you have them do like a falls count anywhere?
I think it'd be a nice twist if it's falls count anywhere, but I think it's just going to be a regular one-on-one. Maybe they'll make a no DQ just so they can go wherever and put each other through the barricade and put each other through a table and use the announce table and do whatever at that point.
Yeah, but at the same time, you got to get it back in the ring, and they're big dudes. It's not easy to move them, so that could be a compelling moment too. Yeah. Brock's just too heavy. How can he move him? And then he's like, oh my God, he hoisted him up. Like, you could do all that kind of shit too, because both those dudes are fucking monsters. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm stoked for it.
I almost thought it was going to be Hurt Business, like more of the Hurt Business tease that they've been doing right now. And then, like, after Omos showed up, I thought Omos was going to come out and help, like help Bobby again, like he did on like last Monday. And that's when I thought Brock was going to come out, and I thought we were going to get Omos getting wrecked by Brock and shit like that. But I'm just like, I just kind of went into it, and then Brock shows up, and I'm like, okay, so we're building more towards Lashley and Brock. And again, I'm just like, first two matches under-delivered. Let's hope the third one does something for me to be like, okay, I'm glad I went into this with very low expectations, and you guys absolutely exceeded all of them.
Yeah. I think they have a chip on their shoulder. I think we're going to see people punching each other in the face.
That'd be fucking insane, and I'd be all for it. Let's go.
I don't think either one of them is remotely nervous about taking a punch from either one of them.
Hell no.
I think both of them smile at the thought of being punched as hard as they can get punched by the other guy.
Mm-hmm. Both their MMA records will tell you that otherwise they don't mind getting punched in the fucking face.
Yeah, no, they think it's pretty fucking cool. But was there anything else that happened on the show that you want to make sure that we talked about at all?
I don't really think there was really like other like major stuff.
Yeah, we just got a few more people going to the Rumbles, and I think it's all fine. And I will say that they did announce the 2K23 show or a video game coming out, and I just wanted to give a shout out on it because Rob Schamberger did one of the covers.
Oh, did he?
It's really cool, and he's a really nice guy. I've had a number of interactions with him. I've talked to him a few times.
His art's incredible. I love it.
I'm trying to remember the number that I counted last time. I think I have 47 prints, not including the collection of small prints I have. So I think I have like 47 of the tall ones. I've got like literally over 100 of this guy's pieces in my house. And I have one that's the original. Like I have one of his Bailey paintings that was the original one with the water on canvas that he turned into prints. It's the one where she's got like a blue face and that kind of gold and black background. I forget the name of it. He's titled them all, and I don't remember the name of that one, which I should because I have the original piece here. So, and actually, I have an original of Shotzi that he did, and he did these like little stamp type versions that were originals as well. But I have one of those of Becky, and he did a stencil spray paint original of the Fiend. I have that too. Like, yeah, I'm big on Schamberger. So seeing him do stuff and be a part of big things always gets me excited. I'm always happy for him.
I think he had an Undertaker one during Taker's Hall of Fame. Like when we were leading up to the Hall of Fame, he had like a Taker one, and oh my god, I wanted it so bad, but I missed out on it.
I wonder which one it was. I have a couple Undertaker prints of his. I have one he just did that was like a big acrylic one, where it's Undertaker holding the title and he's on one knee. And
I love that.
Dude, it's so good. And maybe I'll post a picture of it because he also, because of the tier I am in his Patreon, he sent me the print, but also painted on the print a little face of Undertaker as well. So it's like an original and a print in one, which I just love. I have one of those of that and of actually the SummerSlam of Roman. Like, it's just so cool.
Good. It's so good.
Yeah, and he's got some really cool ones coming up too. He's working on I think he finished the one where it's KO versus Seth, or not Seth, KO versus Sammy. I can't wait for that print to show up signed by both of them because it's so good. It's the two of them just fucking punching each other.
That's awesome.
And he's working right now on Cody and Hell in a Cell, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's gonna sell like hotcakes.
Oh yeah, dude, it's gonna be sick. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't have much else to say, so I figure we go ahead and do last call. And if there's anything that you wanted brought up, you can do it now. You want to tell people how to find you and stuff?
I don't really got nothing else, but I'm gonna thank you for letting me come back on episode 1 because, again, don't really get to do these too often. But you can find me on Twitter at JustinTime211. You follow my brother at JeremyInTime721. In Time Wrestling Podcast right now. Yes, still kind of on a hiatus, but again, we are not just gone. We are going to be coming back. So keep your eyes peeled because we're going to have a lot of stuff coming.
You got some stuff coming up, some brewing?
Yes. I'm getting tired of freaking keeping everybody waiting now. It's time to come back and do some stuff now.
Yeah, get going. So it's nice to grease your wheels here a little bit. Nice to have a drink with my drinking buddy. Yeah, dude, I'll be probably hitting you up in the DMs during Rumble to tell you how right I am all the time.
Okay. I'm always willing to, like I said, I'm always willing to drink the crow.
Yeah. But you can find us at WOTR the show on Twitter. I'm at Ref Marsh. This has been a brand new episode 1 coming from you live. I don't remember how I finished these anymore, dude. I don't remember. It's been like a while, and I used to write it down. I don't remember. I gotta pull it up. Michelle says she's excited for the Rumble. Circle says, J-Man, we need you and Jeremy back. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow night right here in the dive bar of the IWC for a brand new episode 1. That's last call.
Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with wrestling on the rocks.